All right, guys, we are going to do a brief review on some of the angle classifications and everything that we were doing the previous week. If you are good to go on angles and classifying angles and finding angle measures, then you can disregard the video, but I know this is for a few of the students who are unable to be here on Tuesday, all right? So I'm going to go through this pretty fast. The reason why I'm going to go through it pretty fast is just because you guys can pause it and then rewatch it if necessary, all right? So I know everyone in here can only see 5 and 6, but I'm actually going to be doing, let's see if I can fix it a little bit. There we go, now you can see it. So everyone on the YouTube video can still see 1 and 2 right there, okay? All right, when it comes to angles, a lot of these is really almost common sense, and I mean that in a good way. It's just we have to figure out what we're finding and what information is given to us. And so a lot of this is technically, critical thinking. So for example, number 1, find the measure of BAD. We have to see where BAD is. We want to find that measure. So we have B, and it goes down to A. Notice that this A is in the middle. That means it's our vertex, all right? Which makes sense because that main common point right there is always the vertex. And then where does it go? It goes down to the D. So we want to find the measure of the big angle right there, all right? And if we look, we know the size of each of the smaller angles, right? The smaller angles that make up the bigger angle. Since these are adjacent angles, all we literally have to do is add this angle plus this angle, and we have our answer. All right, 31 plus 24 is 55 degrees. There's our answer. Okay. All right, once again, I'm going to be moving pretty fast. If you need to pause the video, that's no problem at all. All right, in this example, it says to find x. All right, this is different because most of the questions have us find individual angle measures. So everyone on the Clever assignment, I think, I believe these types of questions, you have to go further and find the angle measure, not just find x. Some of these, like for example, number 4, if we find x, that's not our final answer because we're gonna have to find the actual measure of the angle. But here in this case, well, just, for this one, it just happens to be if we find x, we're done, okay? Now, first looking at number 2, you're like, how in the world do I find x? Because I have a small angle right here, which is 2x minus 18. I have a bigger angle here, which is 4x. What do I set it equal to, right? So similar to number 1, we need to know if we can, figure out the measure of this big angle right here. It's a straight line, right? And just like we went over in our geometry vocab, whenever we have a straight line, that's literally called a straight angle, and it always, always, always equals 180 degrees.
That's pretty long.
What's that? I know, right? So if we know if the big straight angle is 180 degrees,
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
degrees, we have 2 smaller, you just want to be in my YouTube video, subscribe. We have 2 smaller angles that equal 180 degrees. Well, look, what do we do in number 1? We took the 2 smaller angles, added them together to find the bigger angle. Well, here we're just working in reverse. One of our smaller angles is 2x minus 18. If we add it to 4x, we know that it's going to equal 180 degrees because that's our straight angle. Now, kind of really just essentially ignore the angle. This goes all the way back to last August, finding and just solving an equation, all right? There's no parentheses, so no distributive property. Let's combine like terms. 2x plus 4x is 6x. Cross those out. Did the negative 18 change? Nope. Equals 180. All right, so far so good. We got a couple more steps to do. When we're solving an equation for a variable, we need to get all the variables on one side and all the numbers on the other. So I'm looking at this 6x. I don't want it to move. That's good there on the left side. I got my numbers on the right side. So this negative 18 needs to change. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to totally get rid of that. So my 6x can be by itself, adding 18. But now what we do to one side, have to do to the other. And we add 18. So that'll be 198. Drop down the 6x, And that's the point because our very last step is divide. Can someone real quick tell me what 198 divided by 6 is? I believe it's 23. I want to make sure. I know I'd put you guys on the spot.
It's
33. 33. Oops. Okay, I was close. I knew there was a 3. I couldn't do that mental math. So, thank you, Christopher. X equals 33. Now, our instructions are to find x, so guess what? We're done. All right? We did not have to find the measures of the individual angles, like we will later.
So right there, it's like, one question, we have 7.96.
On something on the computer?
Yeah.
All right, let me finish this and I'll take a look at it. We got time. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go pretty fast. Once again, if you need to pause it or anything, you can. All right, here we go. So this is very similar to number 1, except for, one key difference. We know the measure of EFG. All right, where's EFG? Here's E. F is in the middle, so that means it's our vertex. So go EF, where's G? Oh, there's G. The entire measure of EFG is 130 degrees. So this whole big angle is 130. All right. Our goal is to find the measure of HFG, which is, my highlighter totally sucks, is this smaller angle right here. So if we know the measure of the big angle, and we know part of the smaller angle, what operation do we have to use to find the remainder? Subtract, right? 130 minus 86. Someone figure that out for me, please. 44? 44. All right, so pretty simple. The measure of angle HFG equals 44 degrees, just like that. Notice there was really no algebra involved. It was just knowing that we're subtracting. All right, this is where the next 3, well, actually, we need some algebra. All right, here we go. And this right here, so on everyone's clever assessment on the angles, this is where a lot of it will be potentially the most confusing for you guys, right? It's not exact, so you won't have 3x minus 8 and 2x plus 6, but the process that I do, especially on this number right here, number 4, is the same exact process that you do for a lot of them on the clever assignment, all right? So let's see what information is given to us. Measure of angle PRS. The entire angle is 98 degrees. All right, so it's kind of similar to number 2 up here, where we knew the whole thing equaled 180, but now we know that this big angle equals 98. The entire big angle. And now, similar to number 1, once again, where we add the 2 smaller parts together to get the big one, let's add literally these 2 values together because we know they equal 98. And this is the hardest part sometimes for students to kind of wrap their brains around, is that I don't have a number, I have an expression. That's not a number. 3x minus 8, that's technically a polynomial. Well, you guys will learn that in integrated math too. All right, but it's an expression that we still use because that's technically right now the measure of one of the smaller angles. So 3x minus 8 plus, because we're adding it together to the other smaller angle, 2x plus 6 equals 98. And now, if you want to kind of switch gears, switch your brains, thinking, hey, this is something I can do. We're just solving an equation like we've been doing all year. There's no parentheses, so no distributive property. Let's combine like terms. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Here we go, negative 8. And so the signs are important, guys. So negative 8 plus 6. All right, so 8 in the negative, 6 in the positive, essentially. That's negative 2. Now notice I did not put plus minus 2, all right? If it's a negative number, just leave it at minus 2. All right, it'll save you guys a world of heartache, all right? It'd be much easier and more clear to solve, all right? If it's a negative number, put minus 2, boom, you're good to go. Those are done. My 98 obviously did not change. Okay, just like we did in number 2, we're solving for x. Get that x all by itself, right? So we're going to add 2 to get rid of the minus. Add 2, 100. Drop down the 5x. Divide by 5 on both sides. X equals 20. Now this is the question I love to ask. Is x equals 20 my final answer? Nope. Because in this time, let's look at our instructions. We need to find the measure of QRS. Where's QRS? QRS, start at the Q. R is our vertex, S. We need to find that measure right there. And the very simplest way to do it, now that we know what X is, we literally just plug it in and solve. Plug in the 20 for X. 20 times 2 is 40. What is 40 plus 6? 46 degrees. Answer done. All right, I'm gonna speed up. We're at 11 minutes. Okay, number 5, pretty simple. There's not gonna be that much algebra, actually, because we're just gonna be doing a simple operation. What do we know? We know the measure of J and M. Where's J and M? J, N is my vertex, go down to M. That whole big angle is 103 degrees. All right, so if the whole big angle is 103, what's our goal? Our goal is to find the measure of J and K, which is this one right here. Boom, boom. There's no x's. There's really no need to, algebraically solve anything. This is exactly like number 3, where we know the measure of the biggest angle, and we're just going to subtract the known parts to find our remainder, right? So here we go. 103 minus 32 is what? Mental math. 71? 71. 71 minus 24 is what? 146? Did I get that right? My mental math is not as good. No, it's not. That's not right. What's 71 minus 24? Someone tell me real quick. 20, 51, 57. Oops, 40, 47. See, that was close. It's my brain. So just like that, our measure of J and K, 47 degrees. All we do is glorified subtraction. Final one. This is one of the Super Bowl questions. I love it. Find the measure of WXZ. All right, where is WXZ? WXZ is right there. Boom. X is my vertex. We need to find that. Excellent. All right. So to find the measure of WXZ, well, it's going to be like number 4. We need to find X first. So we need to set up an equation. And this is going to be, essentially the hardest part for a lot of students is the setup. Right? Whereas number 2, way up here, we knew it was a straight angle, so it equaled 180 degrees. If we have a little box, someone in class, if we have a little box, what does the box mean? 90 degrees. We have a right angle. Right angle. Right angle always equals 90 degrees. Exactly like we did in number 4. Now we just set up the algebra. We have 2 smaller angles that equal 90 degrees, the bigger angle. So 7x minus 10 plus 2x plus 1 equals 90. Looks like exactly like number 4. Add like terms. 7x plus 2x is 9x. Negative 10 plus 1, so 10 in the negative, 1 in the positive, negative 9, exactly. That 90 did not change. And now it's just boom, boom, business as usual. Get rid of that negative 9 by adding it. 90, there's a lot of 9s in this one. 90 plus 9 is 99. Drop down the 9x. Divide by 9. 99 divided by 9, x equals 11. Now, is that my final answer? No. We need to find wxz. We do know what x is now. Plug that in right there into the x. 11 times 2 is 22. 22 plus 1, big brain moment, 23 degrees. All right. I know the video was 15 minutes long. I really hope that helped. That was basically a full day's worth of instruction crammed in 15 and a half minutes. All right. Thank you guys so much.